For the past few days, the mainstream media has been hard at work painting the developments on semi-auto rifles here in the Philippines as a bad thing. In fact, I have looked far and wide, and the only positive coverage of this that I have found is from GMA News. Here it is. Unfortunately, all of the coverage other than that has been mostly very negative, with the mainstream media seemingly launching a coordinated attack on the lifting of the ban on semi-auto rifles. They are talking about this as if it is something that's totally new, that somehow the PNP has gone rogue, invented its own laws, and decided to just arbitrarily give all of us Filipinos the privilege to own semi-auto rifles. This is very incorrect. So first off, guys, there is nothing new about owning semi-auto rifles here in the Philippines. It has been legal since the adoption of Republic Act 10591. It's there. You can check it out. In fact, it's not just in the implementing rules and regulations. It's actually in the law that civilians can own semi-auto rifles or small arms in 7.62 and, well, lesser calibers than that. So it's very important for us to talk about this because a lot of this, well, how should I say, inaccurate coverage of mainstream media is at risk of misinforming a lot of Filipinos as to what their semi-auto rifle or firearms privileges are. So again, I would like to state that the lifting of the ban on semi-auto rifles is not new. Semi-auto rifles have always been allowed for civilian ownership. It's just that back in April 2017, during the Battle of Marawi, the office of the president under President Rodrigo Duterte decided to ban this temporarily. And that temporary ban went on for almost 7 years now, so-called permanently temporary ban. So all of this coverage that talks about this almost being a new thing is just flat out wrong. So let's get to it. So let's start first with all of this noise causing Senator Risa Ontiveros to go for a press release. Okay, so this one, a press release dated March 6, 2024. Senator Risa Ontiveros says that hoarding high-powered weapons should not be a hobby, much less one enabled by law. Mas ligtas ang ating lipunan at ang ating mga pamilya at paaralan kung mababawasan ang mga barel na maaaring gamitin sa pagpatay at iba pang krimen. Malinaw na kailangan ng respetuhin ang mga batas ukol sa gun ownership sa Pilipinas. In this time of rampant killings and conflict, we need stronger regulations against the proliferation of firearms in our streets. We must address the broken provisions of the law, which currently enable certain persons to own many high-powered weapons. We need to amend Section 9, Article 3 of Republic Act 10591, which allows so-called gun collectors to amass more than 15 firearms without much explicit restrictions and move in a direction of tighter, not looser, gun control. Walang sibilyan ang dapat nakakapag-shopping spree ng daang-daang baril. Talaga bang simpleng kolektor lang ang matatawag sa isang tao na may sapat na baril para sa militia o private army? We should not allow anyone, especially politicians, business persons, and their personnel to own so many guns. We must fix our gun laws and stop the rise of political killings and warlordism in our country. Okay, so first off, Senator Risa Ontiveros says a lot of inaccurate things here. Primarily which she uses the term high-powered weapons. There is no such term as high-powered weapons under Republic Act 10591, not even in its IRR and the even newer IRRs. So, high-powered weapons is a wrong term that the mainstream media likes to use to refer to scary weapons that they like to see banned. Its definition changes depending on what they feel it should mean that day, so it shouldn't be used. So from here on out, this is the reason why Senator Risa Ontiveros' statement is already flawed almost right from the start. So first off, we need to amend Section 9, Article 3 of Republic Act 10591, which allows so-called gun collectors to amass more than 15 firearms without much explicit restrictions. So, I'm going to make another video on this, and this is referring to Representative Brother Eddie Villanueva's new bill that wants to ban sports shooters and gun collectors. This deserves its own subject. But, according to Senator Risa Ontiveros here, additionally, she doesn't want anybody to go on a shopping spree for hundreds and hundreds of guns. Again, this is ridiculous. Very, very few Filipinos go around doing shopping sprees of that many guns. Most Filipinos only have a Type 1 license. But Senator Risa Ontiveros, again, does not produce data to back up her claims. None of it. It's just fear-mongering talk. Most Filipinos only have a Type 1 license, which allows them to own 2 guns. Well, I'm not even talking about most Filipinos. I'm talking about most Filipino gun owners only have a Type 1 license because it's the cheapest. Maintaining a license here in the Philippines is quite expensive. And if you're going to get one, expect to spend at least $100 getting all of the requirements and setting up the license just to get license. That doesn't even include registering the firearm and buying the gun. So $100 minimum. So this amount, while it might be cheap in some other Western countries, is actually a huge amount here in the Philippines. And with most people here in the Philippines, a lot of our gun owners being working class or middle class, it's just an exorbitant amount. So I don't know where she gets the data to support this claim, where she seems to convey or rather create the idea that we are, or rather gun owners here in the Philippines, go on shopping sprees to create militias and private armies. This is ridiculous. I don't even know how to begin with that claim of private armies. I don't have a private army. I have a few weapons. I don't think most Filipinos are into setting up private armies or militias just because they have lots of guns. This is fear-mongering talk. Okay? And she says over here, we should not allow anyone, especially politicians, business person, and personnel, to own so many guns. Okay, Senator Risa, you have to understand and you have to also respect the law that Republic Act 10591 grants Filipinos the privilege, okay, qualified Filipinos, the privilege to own these types of firearms. I thought you were for human rights, but somehow when it comes to this human privilege, you're against it. The law allows Filipinos to own these types of firearms, okay, to own, firearms proportional to their types of licenses. So if you don't want this law, then why do you claim to be someone that fights for human rights when you're about taking away, not even just a right, this isn't a right according to the Supreme Court, this is just a privilege, and you're against privileges? So, I find that strange. Senator, please respect Republic Act 10591 and don't go around banning it, because at the end of the day, legal gun owners, and that's the people who will be covered by any kind of revisions or legislation here, are not the problem. It's the criminals. They are the ones who are responsible for most of the crimes. And if you do any kind of legislation, you will only affect, 2% or less of, gun-related crimes, which may or may not be done with government-issued firearms or legal gun owner firearms. 98% of all gun crimes here in the Philippines are being done with illegally manufactured and obtained loose firearms, okay? They're loose firearms. No amount of legislation will stop loose firearms. So, please do not punish legal gun owners. We are not the problem. The criminals are. The reason why a lot of us want these firearms is just to protect our property, our families, and even our country against foreign invaders. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know why you seem to think that legal gun owners are the problem. So let's move on to the next article over here. Okay, so military bishop frowns on approval of semi-automatic firearms for civilians. Okay, so looking at this one, okay, Military Ordinariate of the Philippines Bishop Oscar Jaime Florencio expressed on Saturday, March 9, 2024, disapproval of the decision of the Philippine National Police to allow civilians to own a semi-automatic rifle. Okay, so the article goes on. Guys, I'm gonna link all of these below. Okay, so you can just read them and you can decide for yourself how you feel about this. But for me, I'm just gonna read a portion of it and I'm just going to say it over here that this article already fails right from the start. Let me just be clear that the Philippine National Police isn't allowing anybody to own semi-automatic firearms, okay? The law, Republic Act 10591, allows civilians to legally own semi-automatic rifles. The PNP is simply lifting a ban that the Office of the President, back in PRRD's time, put into place. So, I don't know why these news articles seem to be pointing out that the PNP is, doing what it wants, arbitrarily allowing civilians to own all of these firearms. It's the law. It's under Republic Act 10591. So the article goes on. It says over here, we are a poor country. Why will we need those guns? Give them to authorities. If civilians are allowed to have guns, it might cause another big problem. He cited as an example the situation of the United States where mass shooting incidents are on the rise. Okay, and he also pointed out how such a scenario may only become acceptable if the country is in a state of war. Okay, so I'm gonna just be quick about this. So first off, the Philippines, the Republic of the Philippines is not like the United States. Okay, we do not have random mass shootings here in the Philippines. Yes, we do have gun violence here, but a lot of it's being done by the criminals. In fact, most of it, 98% of it, is being done by the criminals with illegally obtained firearms that are not going to be covered by any laws. And at the same time, with all due respect to Bishop Oscar Jaime, okay, to Bishop Florencio, with all due respect, Bishop Florencio, if we're only going to obtain these semi-automatic firearms when we're already being attacked by a foreign invader, then it will be too late. That's like telling me that the best time to prepare for a bully, to prevent a bully from attacking you, the best time to fight back against a bully, the best time to train yourself to defeat a bully is when the bully is already beating you up, kicking you and punching you. Hey, the bully is kicking me and kicking me and kicking me and punching me, and now I have to go to the gym to bulk up so that I can grow some muscles and fight back. But the bully is already beating you on the street and is also beating you up in the gym. But yeah, we can practice. Great. That's the kind of logic that you're trying to get over here. It's the kind of logic that you're trying to get across here. It's ridiculous. The best time to prepare for war is during the time of peace. Okay, during a time of peace. Let's prepare for this because we cannot possibly be expected to train for war when the war has already started. Yes, you can do that, but by then it will be too late. It takes many years of owning firearms for you to hone your skills, to develop the mindset, to safely use them, and to be very responsible with them, and to use them with precision and accuracy, and to develop the professional skills needed to use them to defend your country. Okay? So it takes years for all of that. You can't just do that when the bombs are already falling. This is a bad idea. We want to legalize semi-auto rifles, and by the way, they've already been legal since 2013. Okay? The reason why it's a good idea to lift this ban so that Filipinos can train when, long before the war starts, so that we can train, we can choose our own semi-auto rifles, we can get good at it so that when war finally starts, we'll be more than ready to handle the threat, and we will be more than capable of assisting the armed forces of the Philippines if the time comes for them to ask for our help. We will be more ready to do that. Yes, a lot of Filipinos lack training because it's very expensive to buy ammunition and to train with your firearm, but this is going to help a lot, okay? And I don't understand why you keep comparing us to the United States here, Again, like I said, the Philippines is not the United States. Filipinos are not into all of that coverage that you get from the mainstream media, all of these mass shootings in the United States. That's something that we Filipinos do not just experience here as much as Americans experience in the United States for whatever reason. And by the way, that's a very complicated subject matter. There are many reasons why they get those types of random mass shootings in the United States. And blaming the gun is just not accurate when it comes to dealing with the problem as a whole. There's just so many things that have to be fixed in the United States for them to get rid of that. Philippines is just simply not into those things. So please do not punish us for what goes on in the United States. Please do not take away our privileges because we have mass shootings in the United States. Okay? Filipinos have nothing to do with that. And Filipino gun owners, above all, are not into the business of doing such things. So again, please don't do that. And again, please do not oppose the return of our privileges. There is nothing new about owning semi-automatics here in the Philippines, especially semi-auto rifles. They have been legal since 2013. They've just been banned. The PNP is not allowing it. They're simply lifting the ban. So this is not a new thing, okay? Besides, if it were true that Filipinos were into such terrible, terrible things like mass shootings like the Americans, or a lot of, well, not really a lot. Most Americans are very good people. I would know. I've been to the United States. But if we're going to use that as an example, then we have to be fair in just saying that the Philippines is just simply not the United States, okay? So please do not oppose this, because these arguments are just lacking, I feel, in substance, and they convey an incorrect message. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this next one. So Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption on Move to Allow Semi-Auto Rifles. So I'm going to link this one again in the description below. By the way, guys, before we continue, please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. I really appreciate that so that we can keep this channel going and we can talk a lot more about this sort of thing. As you can see, the mainstream media is doing a terrible job at portraying this thing, this development fairly. They're not really portraying it fairly. They're making it look like it's a terrible, terrible thing. So if you want fair, honest, and factual news on gun privileges here in the Philippines, please subscribe to this channel. Okay? So there you go. So this video and I'm not gonna play it anymore. We will be playing one video, but I won't play this anymore. Talks about the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, and they're now claiming that they're gonna, file a TRO to stop civilians from owning semi-auto rifles. Well, Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, I can guarantee you that filing a TRO to stop the lifting of the ban on Republic Act 10591 isn't going to help with crime, and it's not going to do anything to stop corruption. Okay? So, I don't know why you're just doing this now. If you really hated semi-auto rifles, you should have filed that TRO back in 2013, or even back in 2014, or 2015, or 2016. But now you're acting like all of this just happened yesterday, and they just gave us semi-auto rifle privileges last week. That is not accurate. But hey, if you want to file a TRO, I think you will just be wasting your money, time, and resources. TROs are expensive, because you're wasting all of it, because this is part of Republic Act 10591. So, yeah, good luck trying to get a TRO on a Republic Act. So, let's proceed with the next one. This one is from Rappler. It says over here, isn't it dangerous to allow civilians to own semi-automatic rifles? So, I want to keep this video as short as possible, guys. Again, I just want to say that please read this if you're interested in learning more. But in fact, this article just said so many misleading things, actually, that I posted it in our Facebook page. And somehow Rappler noticed this and noticed all of the issue, and they have corrected the article because it was erroneous. Now they have corrected the article, okay? They've corrected it because before it sounded like a semi-auto rifle was like an MP5 or an M4. There's a part here in the article that says this. Here it is. Before they made it sound like a semi-auto rifle was an MP5 or an M4. Now they have corrected that into saying that it is a fully automatic firearm, which I think is correct now, more correct now. But again, I think the damage has been done. But hey, at least they corrected it, right? It's the next best thing. So there you go. There's a lot more to it than that. I hope that this discussion allows you to understand more about this. So now it's time for our grand finale, which is TV Patrol's art video on March 7, 2024. Here it is.
So, ang sabi nila, marami pa mga patayan ang susunod. Huwag naman. At bakit sunod-sunod ng patayan at bakit malalakas ang loob ng mga pumamatay? Yung isa ang dahilan. Dahil hindi nasusolve ng PNP yung mga kaso.
Doble trabaho ngayon ng PNP.
Ha?
Oo.
Naubos na nga eh.
Hindi.
Naubos mga kaso.
Imbis na pagtuunan ng pasin, pag bibigyan ng lisensya sa malalakas na baril eh.
Uy,
diba?
magdami na ginagawa
Yun na lang mga dapat mga galing.
Alam mo ba ibig sabihin ng semi-automatic? Pag isang kalabit mo, mga 1,000 ang lalabas na bala na. Oo. Kaya pag ikaw ang target mag-isa, wala. Pati ulo mo, mawawala.
Paano pag terorista ka?
Ay,
ang dali mong kumuha ng
baril. Yes, manggulo ka. Yan ibig sabihin. Maraming hindi nakakaintindi. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng automatic? Ha? Yun. Ano ibig sabihin? Sabi ng PNP, okay lang naman.
Okay daw.
Bahala daw sila.
Kaya,
yan
po ang mga balitang binantayan namin para sa inyo. Ako po si Henry Umaga Diaz.
Para sa iba pang balita, mag-log on sa news.abs-cbn.com. Anumang hamon, anumang panahon, tapat kaming maglilingkod. Ako po si Bernadette Zambrano.
Ako naman po ang inyong kabayan si Nolly De Castro. Marami pong salamat at happy weekend!
So there you go, guys. Now that you've seen the video, I think it's time for us to just finish this off with a few words regarding Nolly De Castro's description that semi-auto rifles fire, thousands of rounds, and you can remove someone's head with it. This is so wrong that I don't even know where to begin. This is, I guess, the only thing that I want to say about it is that how can a former vice president, reporter, and newscaster for many decades not know what a semi-automatic firearm is? Like, seriously, how is it possible for him to not know that and to spread all of this bad information to an audience that is the size of hundreds of thousands? Look at this, guys. Look at this. 400,000 plus views. You know what's the terrible thing about here is, guys, a lot of Filipinos trust this kind of news, even if it's wrong, even if it's bad. They trust this. And now we are at risk of seeing, 400,000 Filipinos thinking that semi-auto rifles are actually capable of that. They're not! They're not! When you fire a semi-auto rifle, when you pull the trigger once, one round gets fired or discharged. That's it. It's not 1,000. Besides, how can you even fire 1,000 from a semi-auto rifle or a semi-automatic pistol? There isn't a 1,000 round magazine that holds that many bullets. The only way you can do that is with a Gatling gun. We don't have that. And Gatling guns are like Class B crew-served weapons. That's not what a semi-auto weapon is. This is ridiculous. And it also shows, guys, how intellectually bankrupt mainstream media can be when they report on topics such as gun privileges. This is just flat out dumb. And you know what's sad here is, guys, they will never be held accountable for this. If they spread all of this bad information to hundreds and thousands of viewers, it's okay. Nothing happens to them. There's no sanction. There are no repercussions to this sort of thing. Now, I'm not saying that mainstream media should, be perfect 100% of the time, but at least they should try, right, guys? And here, this is just terrible. This is so bad. I can't believe that they just said that to 400,000 plus people. That's just terrible. I don't understand how this can be considered as responsible reporting on news events. This is just flat out bad. So, if you want to learn more about your gun privileges, guys, more on your gun privileges, please choose your information sources very carefully. Please subscribe to my channel. Please read the law. Please read the implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 10591 so that you get the best information possible to help you make the right decision. And please read books like this one. Okay, very good book. So, this is something that I think all of us should do, because it's very important, guys, that we choose our information sources carefully. The mainstream media clearly doesn't want us to learn more about our firearms privileges here in the Philippines, and every time they make a news article about it, we can see a lot of misinformation and very dishonest and deceiving reporting on the subject matter. Again, I have nothing against Noli De Castro. Personally, I just think that before he should talk about important subjects such as this, especially to him, because he's facing an audience that's in the size of 100 or more thousand people, 400,000 people. Please, Noli De Castro, please do your research. Please avoid saying things like this, because it's gonna take us years and years to convince those, maybe 300 or 400,000 people who believed you that semi-auto rifles are just simply not that. It's going to take us years to correct that wrong belief. Okay? My channel isn't that big. So, I hope that, as watchers of Philippine Ricochet Line, guys, please be careful where you get your news from. And when you see something like this, we need to push back, because what we want to create here is a nation that is very well educated on their gun privileges, and a nation that is full of responsible, proficient gun owners. Okay, that's it. That's all that I ask here. That's that we work together to give each other the best information possible so that you can make the right decision on which firearm you should get and how you should use it, what the laws are, so that you can be safe and you can use that firearm to your benefit and you're not going to get into trouble from it. And if you're going to go around getting your news from sources such as this, it's going to fill your head with trash, basically. Really, that's what this is. It's just terrible. So there you go, guys. I hope you learned a lot. And as always, thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you again in the next video.